Hello, guys, and welcome to the sixth session of AI for Climate Activists training. Today's session is going to be the ethical AI for activism and civil society. Today we are going to learn what is the ethical AI and how is it ethical realistically. To start with, it's not all evil. That is the motto for today's session. And the objectives are to define ethical AI, the accountability, the transparency, and fairness of it, identify how artificial intelligence can be a force multiplier for climate activists, understanding the co design model, the build with community, not for community and learn tactics for auditing and advocating for AI policies. Our focus today will shift from defense to proactive engagement of how to build and demand AI that serves our values. Um, as a quick recap, in the previous sessions 1 to 5, we have been learning um, the AI core issues, the bias, the data colonialism, and the security threats of artificial intelligence models. We learned also to protect ourselves and challenge unfair systems. And where we're going with the sessions through session 6 and 7, we're going to flip the script somewhat. How do we proactively use AI ethically, and how do we build systems that benefit civil society and climate justice? Diving straight into, um, let's understand the three pillars of ethics. The three horsemen of ethical AI is accountable, transparent, and fair. Starting with accountability, to be held or to hold accountable the artificial intelligence models, there must be a clear human or organizational entity responsible for AI mistakes or harm caused by artificial intelligence models. The transparency that we should maintain is basically the system's purpose, training data, and decision making process. These three must be clear, auditable, and easily understood. Um, Also, fairness and equity. That to be granted. Uh, Artificial intelligence models must actively mitigate historical bias and provide equitable outcome across all affected communities. In simple terms, we should hold someone accountable for the AI mistakes, which is basically the organizations or the companies that are providing us with artificial intelligence models services. We should demand the transparency of how does it work, how does it do, the analysis and the everything outcome of it, and also we should be granted the fairness and equality and equity of it. The AI can be actually a force multiplier for climate activists. And how is that? It's by these three pillars: environmental monitoring, policy analysis, and community organizing. So, artificial intelligence models can analyze satellite imageries to detect illegal deforestation, monitor air quality, and track pollution sources in real time. That's one way we can use artificial intelligence models in a good way, not as a threat. Um, Also, generative AI summarizes complex legislative documents and scientific reports. We should not be forced to do the grunt work. We should not be forced to do the massive parkouring of thousands and thousands of pages in order for us to get a specific information of it. Um, Also, artificial intelligence models can identify local stakeholders. It can also map community vulnerabilities to better target awareness and mobilization campaigns. These are ways on how artificial intelligence models can be a force multiplier. Um, One of the main ways to keep artificial intelligence models ethical is to co-design. And this is by building with communities, not for communities, because generally building things for communities, especially if it is free, um, communities are the products, not the people or the entity that is benefiting from the product. So getting introduced to co-design. What is co-design? It is basically the practice of building with communities to ensure AI solves real problems without causing new harms. It's basically to understand what the community's needs are and act accordingly to it. So the analogy here is imagine getting an architect to build and design a hospital without taking into consideration doctors' needs or patients' needs. The building may look impressive and graphically beautiful and amazing, but it will be useless and it can even be dangerous because the real world's needs were ignored because no patient, no doctor was part of the um, design process. That is, um, and the principle here of the human um, activists is basically always ensure that the community defines the problem and owns the data. This forces the technology to serve the people, not the other way around, because the other way around is to people to feed the technology their data, and therefore people and communities will be the product themselves. Um, one of the two discussions that we're going to have today, a thing that you can reflect on and basically try to think maybe out loud or try to have this conversation with your colleagues or with your community members. So imagine you are building an AI tool to monitor illegal dumping near a river in your town. And so, what data would you insist on using, and what data would you reject as biased? So, basically, here try to identify what are the ethical, non negotiable for this project. Okay? Maybe consider satellite images versus biased policy reports, neighborhood income data versus verifiable pollution metrics. You can feel free, you can even share this with your communities. Feel free to share through powertovoices.org. And yeah, try to come with an outcome that's discussable once. Moving on towards tactics, and here we are going to be talking about the data and algorithmic audit. So, what auditing is basically getting to fact check or getting to quality ensure that everything is within the norms and healthy. So, data audit. So you should be questioning the inputs, question the data sets, because we've learned through the previous sessions that artificial intelligence models are being trained by feeding them data sets, multiple data sets, different data sets, in order for them to get to know um, basically every single measure or multiple information in order for them to get to memorize and to analyze basing on these data sets. So, is the data set comprehensive? Is the labeling fair? What communities are missing from these data sets? And these are mainly the questions that you should be asking yourself because um, an artificial intelligence model is only as ethical as the data it consumes. Simply. Also, one other audit is the algorithmic audit. And what's that? It's, in simple terms, the output. What is the AI giving you? Test the model, maybe um, uh, get some tests done, ask some dumb questions that you know for a fact their answer, and check, does it perform equally well for all groups, genders, races, income, origins, and so on. And do monitor, oh no, do minor changes in input lead to radically different outcomes? So is it stable? Is it not? So take, for instance, pollution and or maybe human rights, and try to get it factored through different genders, different races, different communities, and different income tranches. That way, you can fact check, you can eliminate hallucinations, and be sure that it is reliable whatsoever. Um, Next is advocating for AI rights and policy. So, because that way it is ethical. Basically, demand artificial intelligence rights, um, demand the right to exploration, demand that any governmental AI decision affecting people, permits, welfare, sentencing, or whatever it is, must be accompanied by a clear, human readable explanation. The right to audit, for instance, lobby for policies that mandate third party civil society organizations to inspect the datasets and algorithms used in public bodies. That's also one major important thing to do. Um, as well as demand for artificial intelligence to be as a public good, demand for funding and creating open source artificial intelligence tools specifically designed for public benefit and for public use rather than purely commercial interest. That's one also major thing that gets AI to be ethical, to be used by everyone, not in a commercial way. Another discussion here that you can do as the same is what is one piece of AI policy related to transparency or auditability that you could lobby for with your local city council or government? Basically, how can you turn abstract ethics into concrete local rules? Take, for example, banning facial recognition in public schools, mandate open source code for all air quality monitoring system, um, ban facial recognition when it comes to hot hubs for strikes or for marches, for example, stuff like that. So yeah, that's one other discussion. And finishing up with takeaways, the main things that you have to keep in mind are ethical AI is defined by accountability, transparency, and fairness. The co-design model is essential, built with the communities, not for communities, in order for communities not to be the product themselves. Conducting data and algorithmic audits is a key to challenge and improving AI systems. And also, activists must transition from defending against AI to avoiding for pro-social AI policy. And the core principle that we need to get out with is owning our assets and knowing our cause and rights brings us power. So, coming up next is using AI for goods. How to, what are the tools that we can use and how to use them for our benefit. So, stay tuned for the session number 7. That will be it for today. Thank you so much, and tune in to powerthevoices.org to get more insights and to check for the rest of the session. Thank you so much. I hope you have a very good day. Goodbye.